For today's movie, let's take a deep dive into Grave of the Fireflies. The movie is set on Kobe, Japan, during the final days of World War II. It follows the story of young Seita, age 14, and his younger sister Setsuko, age 4. Their father was a member of the Japanese Navy. As such, he was often away from them. They were living with their mother one day when an aerial bombardment raided their hometown and ended up separating them. With no adults taking care of them, young Seita is forced to take care of Setsuko and travel onwards to their aunt. They later found out that their mother didn't survive the bombardment. Due to circumstances with Seita's aunt being unwelcoming to them and treating them differently, Seita decided to move out of the house and live off with the remaining money and possession their late mother left for them. The characters in this movie really grew on me. Seita was this protective brother who would do anything for Setsuko, and Setsuko was this cute little kid who just wanted to play all day. They eventually ran out of money and things to sell, which forces them to eat whatever they could find, or sometimes steal. This leads to Setsuko having malnutrition problems. Seita takes her to the doctor and asks how her condition could be treated. The doctor says that she just needs to eat nutritious food, which isn't really easy to come by as they're living in a war-torn country where all supplies are limited. Even farmers have trouble providing for themselves, much less to sell to other people. The situation with Setsuko gets worse until she could not eat anything anymore. This leads to one of the saddest scenes, wherein one day Seita arrives with watermelon and Setsuko is seen swallowing a marble as she confuses it for her favorite fruit drop. Setsuko is also seen confusing rocks for rice balls and offering them to Seita. Seita tried to feed Setsuko, but her young body couldn't take it anymore, and wherein she eventually passed away. At age 4, young Setsuko dies to a very preventable cause. Seita yet again experiences a second death of his loved one. Having someone you love die really changes your perspective as you realize that death is real. When we were kids, we thought that it only happened in the movies. But once it happens to us, everything changes. A primal fear of losing someone is awoken deep in our hearts, which will linger in us forever. Just sharing a personal experience of mine when my grandfather died when I was still young really changed me as I felt what true fear is. The fear of losing someone we love. But I eventually realized that people never die as long as they're in our hearts, which is why I named this channel after him. Well, going back to the movie review, Data is also shown taking his last breath because of severe hunger, all hope lost in his eyes. The last scene shows Seita and Setsuko looking over modern Japan. It turned out well for Japan, as it became one of the world's largest economies. What it means to me. Although beautiful and seemingly full of life, fireflies only live for a day. Such was the case for young Seita and Setsuko. Bright spirits gleaming with life, which ended too quickly because of a meaningless war, which in the end had no victors, only losers, and numerous lives lost, thus making up the grave of the fireflies.
People never die as long as they're in our hearts. Seita and Setsuko represents those who are often forgotten during war stories. They were just kids, yet I bet no one remembers them, much more celebrates their lives. At school, when we were taught of the past wars, we often asked who the victors are. But are there really any victors in a war? Whatever happens, people will die, lose loved ones. Resources will be flushed down the drain looking for ways to kill each other faster. Is there really any victory when those are the consequences? Living in a world where children and the common folk are the cannon fodder that enables victory. Is that really a world worth living in? I believe in the saying that we die twice. First, when our heart beats for the last time, and second, when our names are spoken for the last time. We have no way of bringing back the dead, but I always believe that by remembering them, the good and the bad, their memories as a whole, they will live on forever, deep in our hearts. And so will our memories and our loved ones when our time comes.
This is a recurring theme for Studio Ghibli, wherein they use young characters in order to show the world through the eyes of the innocent. Some people may blame Seita. Why didn't he just return to his aunt, or why did he leave in the first place? I too asked myself that, but later realized while there may be a high chance that Setsuko might have lived if they never left the aunt's house, why would we blame a 14-year-old kid who only decided what would be best for them at the time? He always had Setsuko at his highest priority. If we're blaming anyone, let's blame the adult, which is the aunt. But then again, it's only human nature for you to take care of your most immediate family in times of great need, like during a war. So let's climb up the blame ladder. Let's blame the countries responsible. Why did they have to engage in this war? It seems that the higher ups have forgotten who is most affected by the war. They only decide for themselves. But then again, human nature is like this. We are so full of pride with our advancements as a race, but our egos are too big that we always have to prove our superiority among others. So is human nature to blame? Not quite so, as it is also human nature to be loving and caring. My point? The blame ladder only goes as far. What we can do as humans, however, is move on, but never forget the past, so that whatever happened may never happen again. Always remember history with an unbiased pair of glasses.
Thanks for watching, and if you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe.